talk about the fun little topic of absurdism while drinking some very fruity beers, I suppose. These are the lambic beers, yeah, I think, from my last video. Last video I drank the cherry and the peach one. Today I have raspberry and apple. Apple is pronounced the exact same, it appears, but raspberry is pronounced framboise. So how about we start with the framboise? And speaking of framboises, if we get through these two, which we might, I do have this other berry cider thing, rosé. We'll see. But we'll just jump right into it with the framboise here and the fun little paper we have on top. Yeah, if any paper was framboise-ish, it would be this one right here. Imagine trying to do this in a bar every, like, you're 10 beers down. It's like, well, I gotta undo the paper first. Yeah, there's a reason this is sold at World Market. Anyway, where it is. I almost said can opener, which I guess you can use this to open cans. Alright, Lindemann's Framboise Raspberry Lambic Beer. Cheers to you. Oh my god. That's even worse than the cherry one. And the cherry one was like basically drinking cough syrup. The peach one was good. The patch was good. This is oh my god, that's just all tart. Oh. Oh. You guys ever have like the Jolly Ranchers as a kid? The Jolly Ranchers candy. It's like if you combined 10 of them and liquefied it. This is what this is. Oh my goodness. But I'll keep drinking. One must imagine I'm price happy. Oh, I'm gonna have to take a lot of breaks to go through that. But the one must imagine I'm price happy. One must imagine Sisyphus happy plays into the myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus, which we'll get into today. But starting, I guess, as an introduction to absurdism, this is sort of the premier book, the premier explanation of absurdism. Oh my god, I'm sorry, it's like my mouth is being torn inside out from this thing. But I've started it, so I have to finish. Oh, Jesus. Anyway. Fights on the way down. Anyway, so absurdism is, we've talked about, Stoicism before. Stoicism is a sort of like, life sucks, but you endure it, and you don't show that you're suffering because you're a Stoic, you're tough, you don't need to suffer. Absurdism is kind of like that, but instead of having this stoic face, instead of not showing your emotions, absurdism is a sort of glee at the suffering, sort of a laughing in the face of suffering. So like, okay, a better example is nihilism, is the belief that life is meaningless and it's at a sort of flat line, no emotion, life is meaningless. And then pessimism, it's making my nose run. That's a framboise, damn you, Lindemann. Pessimism is like nihilism, but like, oh, life is meaningless. It's nihilism with like an inherently negative aspect, a negative connotation. Absurdism is nihilism, but with a sort of positive connotation. It's not the life is meaningless baseline of nihilism. Oh my god, I don't like this. The raspberry one's the worst. And it's not the life is meaningless negative connotation of pessimism. It's a sort of, hey, life is meaningless. Let's have fun. Kind of like, we're all gonna die someday, so let's have fun while we're here. Let's laugh in the face of not only danger, but of boredom, of despair, of hopelessness. Let's just keep on going with our lives. And you'll find a lot of absurdists, like Eric Andre, the comedian, has a sort of absurdist bent on his TV show, The Eric Andre Show. It's random and bizarre and kooky and crazy, and it's just that way because, who cares? Let's have fun. Why bother trying to find a meaning in anything? Let's just enjoy the fact there is no meaning. Rationalism leads to nihilism. Nihilism leads to irrational self-destruction. Mitchell Heisman taught us that. And I knew that off the cuff, by the way. The only reason there's a cut here is because my camera keeps going out, while my recorder keeps going out just randomly. And I'm glad it happened, because that goes in with absurdism, because I'm just going to keep trying no matter what. And I know that my recording stuff is shit, because I'm just, this isn't my main thing. I just kind of do this for fun, on a whim, whenever I want to. And why should I care if it sucks? Why should I care, if 10 people watch me or whatever it is? Because I'm enjoying myself, aren't I? I am laughing in the face of the void, in the face of insurmountable, you'll never have 10 million, subscribers like whoever who makes, $10,000 a video and lives in a big mansion. Who cares, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna drink my framboise, raspberry lambic beer. I still don't know what lambic is, but you know what? Here I am. I'm drinking it anyway. And it's still terrible, but I'm just gonna keep going. Oh my god, maybe I shouldn't actually. Maybe I should try the apple one. Oh, this is foul. Anyway, I'll take a break from that. And we'll start reading some passages from the myth of Sisyphus, because frankly I lost my train of thought from the original cut. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, the story of Sisyphus is a legend, a myth, a folk tale, whatever you want to call it, from ancient history, and it's about this guy Sisyphus who's pushing this boulder up a mountain, and every time he gets close to the top of the mountain, he loses, grip of the boulder, or he gets on top of the mountain and the boulder goes down, and no matter what, he cannot get the boulder to stay at the top of the mountain. It always rolls down, and he always has to push it back up continuously, even though he knows every time he's going to push it back up, he's going to lose it again. So why does he keep doing it? Well, that's the sort of absurdist argument that America makes in here. It's a sort of life is meaningless, so enjoy what you have and find merriment in what you have and meaning in what you have. Not necessarily like deep, profound meaning, but meaning insofar as like, this is something to do. I'm going to smile through the pain and, sort of enjoy my eccentric, crazy life. As well as this novel acts as a sort of, I don't know what you even call it, an anti-suicide explainer. It talks about why the idea of killing yourself to him is ludicrous. Because yes, life is miserable, yes, life is suffering, but why willingly end your suffering when you can live in this sort of eccentric, fun, why put an end to your own life when there's basically this absurdist party to be had throughout your life? So we'll just look through and try to find some passages that I like, and we'll go from there. Just real quick from the preface, something that, has impacted me, of course, or that I empathize with as an artist is, oh God, here comes a framboise. I didn't have that yesterday with the cherry and the peach. God, was something in that one, man. Although the myth of Sisyphus poses mortal problems, it sums itself up, for me, as a lucid invitation to live and to create in the very midst of the desert. Through the meaningless we find our meaning, you could say. There's this, we exist in this dark morass of I don't know, of shit. There's no better word for it, of shit. So all you can really do is just make what you can, find the joy that you can. All great deeds and all great thoughts have a ridiculous beginning. Great works are often born on a street corner or in a restaurant's revolving door. So it is with absurdity. The absurd world, more than others, derives its nobility from abject birth. From that abject birth. In certain situations, replying nothing when asked what one is thinking may, Jesus, sorry. That's the lambic beer, I swear. It's all fizzy. Also, it's hard to read in here. In certain situations, replying nothing when asked about what one is thinking about may be pretense in a man. Those who are loved are well aware of this, but if that reply is sincere, if it symbolizes that odd state of soul in which the void becomes eloquent, in which the chain of daily gestures is broken, in which the heart vainly seeks the link that will connect it again, then it is, as it were, the first sign of absurdity. Kind of like this, I make these videos, I go through the pain of trying to record them and capture the video and the audio and all my crappy equipment, and I, take my dinosaur computer and I try to upload it, and it takes hours and hours, trying to edit it, and then I put it online and I'll get like 50 people watch it, or like watch it, it's like, like a 5-minute average watch period, whatever you want to call it, or in my analytics, but I keep going, and I think everyone should keep going. If you are a painter and no one likes your paintings, well, who cares? Just keep painting. If you are a musician and you only sell, 2 copies of your album a year, okay, that's fine. Keep going. Why bother with trying to, be the next Rihanna or whoever? Just keep laughing in the face of it all. Let's see what else Albert has to say to us. To an absurd mind, reason is useless, and there is nothing beyond reason. There we go. Don't worry about the facts. Don't worry about, the grim reality that there is no quantifiable meaning on earth. You don't need facts. That's ridiculous. You don't worship facts. You worship the absurd and absurdity itself. At that point, too, don't you realize that the people who are always grounded in reality, who are always laying into what everyone else is doing, what is more concrete and tangible, the go-getter who, say works 60-hour weeks and has this crazy business and a bunch of money and, all this quote-unquote success. Do you really think they're that happy? I mean, have you ever talked to these people? These people who never even take a 5-minute rest, who wake up, at 2 a.m. the previous day so they can be ready for, tomorrow's actions. I drink 70 cups of coffee a day. Who condescend to everyone who doesn't live life exactly like they do. Who cares, Be meaningless, be pointless. It's okay to not care what others think. Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna pop open the Apple one because I don't like that raspberry one very much. And absurdism right now is telling me to have 2 open beers at once. I might even go for 3. If I can get this fucking paper off. What is the point of this? Yeah. The paper, I mean, not the video. I know the video is meaningless, but the paper has to mean something. I don't care. Some of the paper can stay attached and go into my belly and give me cancer in a few years. Alright, doesn't smell too promising. Let's take a hit. That's a lot smoother. Oh, it tastes like fruit snacks. It tastes like Scooby-Doo fruit snacks from when I was a kid. Specifically Scooby-Doo fruit snacks, not like, like the Black Forest fruit snacks or the Market Pantry fruit snacks. Or even Dragon Ball Z fruit snacks, specifically Scooby-Doo. Okay, never mind. Now that I picture Scooby-Doo fruit snacks, I don't know if I like this one either. It does taste smoother. I think I'm gonna die drinking it like I will the framboise one. And also, why is apple the same in wherever this country is? And cherry too. Where the fuck even was I? Who cares? Absurdism. Once again, with the last 2, there's not really much of like an alcoholic taste. It just sort of tastes like, you can taste that it's supposed to be a beer. And it's certainly like a lot of the botanical drinks I've had in the past on this channel. But there's not like that alcoholic bite to it. The bite isn't just the sugary pain that my body cannot handle. But onward. I just flipped I got a lot of dog ears here. And now it becomes clear, on the contrary, that it will be lived all the better if it has no meaning. Yeah, I agree. Then it goes, now, no one will live this fate, knowing it to be absurd, unless he does everything to keep before him that absurd brought to light by consciousness. Negating one of the terms of the opposition on which he lives amounts to escaping it. To abolish conscious revolt is to elude the problem. Then it goes further down here. One of the only coherent philosophical positions is thus revolt. It is a constant confrontation between man and his own obscurity. It challenges the world anew every second. It says it is not aspiration, for it is devoid of hope. That revolt is the certainty of a crushing fate without the resignation that ought to accompany it. And I think that's a vastly better explanation than I had. It really is. It's being a rebel. Absurdism is being a rebel. It's this acknowledgement that life is going to just pound you to nothingness, but that you can fight it anyway. And then, especially this, that revolt is the certainty of a crushing fate. Yeah, you're going to lose, but without the resignation that ought to accompany it. You're not supposed to be sad and upset and pessimistic about the meaninglessness of life. He's saying, don't give in. Kind of know in the back of your head that you will lose someday. Oh God. I don't know. Frankly, I still blame the framboise for that one. But it's not like you're not giving up. You know that it is a losing battle, but you still go on. That's the human spirit. That's the revolutionist, the rebel spirit. That is the absurdist's spirit. Then he says here, it's in its way, suicide settles the absurd. It engulfs the absurd in the same death. But I know that in order to keep alive the absurd cannot be settled, which suicide is at that point the giving up, the giving in to life's crushing weight. Then he says, next page here, consciousness and revolt. These rejections are the contrary of renunciation. Everything that is indomitable and passionate in a human heart quickens him, on the contrary, with its own life. It is essential to die unreconciled and not of one's own free will. Suicide is a repudiation. The absurd man can only drain everything to the bitter end and deplete himself. The absurd is his extreme tension, which he maintains constantly by solitary effort, for he knows that in that consciousness and in that day-to-day revolt, he gives proof of his only truth, which is defiance. That is the first consequence. Oh, Albert, what are you trying to tell us? So fun little section. He starts talking about Don Juan. Don Juanism. Don Juan is, the legendary lover who slept with this vast, how do I say it without sounding like a total pig? He slept with a lot of ladies. He says if it were sufficient to love, things would be easy. The more one loves, the stronger the absurd grows. It is not through lack of love that Don Juan goes from woman to woman. It is ridiculous to represent him as a mystic in quest of total love. But it is indeed because he loves them with this same passion and each time with his whole self that he must repeat his gift and his profound quest. Sounds to me like he's excusing that kind of lascivious behavior. But whence each woman hopes to give him what no one has ever given him. Each time they are utterly wrong and merely manage to make him feel the need of that repetition. At last exclaims one of them, I have given you love. Can we be surprised that Don Juan laughs at this? At last, no, he says, but once more. Why should it be essential to love rarely in order to love so much? But furthermore, as skipping a few beats, melancholy people have two reasons for being so. They do not know, or they hope. Don Juan knows and does not hope. Now, in that view, you might think Don Juan's a little jaded. He knows that he's basically, emotionally damaging all these people he's interacting with, but he doesn't hope for, a better future or a better outcome. He knows what life is like. He's a sort of cynic that way. And he goes from woman to woman, doing the best that he can. And, he knows that he can't be any more than that. Don Juan's a guy who knows who he is what Camus appears to be saying here. And he's okay with that. Is he, like the original fuckboy? Does he have his Supreme hoodie on while he's fleeing out the window down the country roads? Probably. But, sorry to my Supreme supporting audience, by the way. But that's just who he is, and he's not going to deny who he is. because why should he? That would be dishonest to himself and to his absurdist mindset. Oh, jeez. I really don't give a fuck. So I'm just going to open this third one because I want to try it. But I really I don't drink a lot of alcohol, to be honest. Ooh, that was a spicy pop right there. Why do they always have this crud at the top? What am I secondhand acquiring through this shit? Anyway. That must have sat in oh, never mind. I'll say that must have sat in my fridge too long. It's not very bubbly. The reason why I still have a lot of these are the last ones, last video like this, is my Dungeons and Dragons group. I buy these fun drinks for that, but we don't drink in our group anymore. So it's okay, now I have all these backup drinks from before that I gotta work through. I gotta clean up space in my fridge. Okay, and at first this tasted pretty flat, and then it hit me more so with once again, I think the problem with these fruit and flavored infused drinks, it's just so sweet. I'm drinking carbonated syrup. Is this where I jam all 3 bottles in my mouth at once? Turns into one of those channels, huh? Oh my god. I mixed all 3 together, and believe it or not, the framboise stood out legitimately amongst all of them. The second I was just oh god, there it is again. Not good. Apple is probably the best out of all of them. Honestly, the peach from yesterday wasn't bad. The apple, I'd say, is second best, but I wouldn't really put it in a best category. It's probably just the least worst out of the alternatives. I hope this will be fun. That's why they're going to sound really good or fucking atrocious. But I don't watch these videos, so alright, I'll put those back. They can't hurt anyone anymore. There will be another video coming out, maybe in 2 weeks or so, by the creator's newest album. Chromatopia is coming out. Or Chromacopia, I mean. Sorry. I'm terrible. And that has nothing to do with absurdism, but, while we're here, while we're just reveling in meaninglessness, why not just shout out all these other meaningless things? I'm going to do a Chromacopia video, reading an Anthony Bourdain book right now. I might do a review on that when I'm done. We'll see. Going back to the apple. Fucking fruit snacks. Where are we going? Oh, that's about, I don't know, I probably can't read that on YouTube. It's fine, don't worry about it. Alright, we got a pretty large section right here. It's double dog here, it's good. Gotta clear my throat from all the... my throat is lacquered with sugary oil right now. to work and create for nothing, to sculpture in clay, to know that one's creation has no future, to see one's work destroyed in a day while being aware that fundamentally this has no... Oh, Jesus, I cannot drink anymore, man. Like, in general, I'm a water guy. Hydrate or dehydrate. Fundamentally, this has no more importance than building for centuries. This is the difficult wisdom that absurd thought sanctions. Performing these two tasks simultaneously, negating on the one hand and magnifying on the other, is the way open to the absurd creator. He must give the void its colors. This leads to a special conception of the work of art. Too often the work of a creator is looked upon as a series of isolated testimonies. Thus, artist and man of letters are confused. A profound thought is in a constant state of becoming. It adopts the experience of a life and assumes its shape. Likewise, a man's soul creation. Don't growl at me. A man's soul creation is strengthened in its successive and multiple aspects. His works, one after another, they complement one another, correct or overtake one another, contradict one another too. If something brings creation to an end, it is not the victorious and illusory cry of the blinded artist, I have said everything, but the death of the creator which closes his experience and the book of his genius. That effort, that superhuman consciousness are not necessarily apparent to the reader. There is no mystery in human creation. Will performs this miracle. But at least there is no true creation without a secret. To be sure, my books have some secrets. To be sure, a succession of works can be but a series of approximations of the same thought, but it is possible to conceive of another type of creator proceeding by juxtaposition. Their works may seem to be devoid of interrelations. To a certain degree, they are contradictory, but viewed altogether, they resume their natural grouping. From death, for instance, they derive their Oh God, there might be a dog coming in like a minute or so. Buddy. Yeah, he doesn't want to be involved. From death, for instance, they derive their definitive significance. They receive their most obvious light from the very life of their author. At the moment of death, the succession of his works is but a collection of failures. But if those failures all have the same resonance, the creator has managed to repeat the image of his own condition to make the air echo of the sterile secret he possesses. The effort to dominate is considerable here, but human intelligence is up to much more. It will merely indicate clearly the voluntary aspect of creation. Elsewhere I have brought out the fact that human will had no other purpose than to maintain awareness, but that cannot do without discipline. Of all the schools of patience and lucidity, creation is the most effective. It is also the staggering evidence of man's soul dignity, the dogged revolt against his condition. Perseverance, an effort considered sterile, it calls for a daily effort, self-mastery, a precise estimate of the limits of truth, measure, and strength. It constitutes an ascesis, all that for nothing, in order to repeat and mark time. But perhaps the great work of art has less importance in itself than in the ordeal it demands of a man, and the opportunity it provides him of overcoming his phantoms and approaching a little closer to his naked reality. That's a lot to digest now, isn't it? I especially like that last little bit where he's talking about, I think creation, I agree with him, creation is the ultimate absurd act. You know, let's just say, because I write, we'll use writing books as the main analogy. You write books basically screaming into the void, knowing that no one cares and no one will read it, that when you die, sure, it's a remnant understand it. You might not understand it yourself. You might be working out something through one or two or three or four or an endless amount of iterations. I mean, hell, wasn't it? Jean-Pierre Melville, I want to say it was him, the filmmaker, who said that each artist makes only one film in their life. They only remake it, a dozen times. I fully believe that. I think each artist has, one issue they're trying to work out, and they just touch one aspect of it or go through a different motion of it every time they come out to write a book or film a film or paint a painting. And like in my books, of course, I'm touching on issues that are close to me and that I want to know more about, and it's like I learn more about it through writing it, and I get closer to the truth I'm searching for, and I get closer to the meaning that I'm trying to unlock myself through the act of creation. And it's that human willpower, that need to keep writing, even though writing a book will take you a year, and when it comes out, you won't get accepted. You only have to self-publish, or you have to promote yourself on Reddit, or whatever it is. It's that will to keep going and to once again laugh in the face of the void and continue on your journey no matter what. There's one more little section here that I wanted to touch upon, and it's just like the last. It's kind of funny. Last, like penultimate, double penultimate page. He's talking about Sisyphus himself. At the end, he says, "It is in that return." The return meaning when Sisyphus is coming back down the mountain, or at the top of the mountain, watching his boulder roll to the bottom, and he's like, "Oh well, I gotta do it again. I gotta redo my journey." It is during that return, that pause, that Sisyphus interests me. A face that toils so close to stones is already stone itself. I see that man going back down with a heavy yet measured step towards the torment of which he will never know the end. That hour, like a breathing space which returns as surely as his suffering, that is the hour of consciousness. At each of those moments when he leaves the heights and gradually sinks towards the layers of the gods, he is superior to his fate. He is stronger than his rock. If this myth is tragic, that is because its hero is conscious. Where would his torture be indeed, if at every step the hope of succeeding upheld him? The workman of today works every day in his life at the same tasks, and this fate is no less absurd. But it is the tragedy only at the rare moments when it becomes conscious. Sisyphus, proletarian of the gods, powerless and rebellious, knows the whole extent of his wretched condition. It is what he thinks of during his descent, the lucidity that was to constitute his torture at the same time crowns his victory. There is no fate that cannot be surmounted by scorn. Even that last sentence, there is no fate that cannot be surmounted by scorn. It's basically just a fuck you to reality, to everything. It's saying, yeah, you might have the worst life imaginable, but get back at it. Screw that life. Do what you want. You scorn will defeat it. And it's the tragedy that Sisyphus, like he said, if he was just brainlessly going up and down and sort of in this this mind-numbing, zonked-out world, it wouldn't matter. But it's the fact that Sisyphus knows that it's meaningless, that he knows that he's going to get defeated, that makes it what it is. It's because Sisyphus knows his fate and he doesn't care. He just keeps on going and nothing can stop him. Okay, should we go for one more triple drink? Alright, God, I'm dumping all this out afterward. I can make a motherfucker shake, rattle and roll last page, so this video can be done. Camus says that he leaves Sisyphus at the foot of the mountain. One always finds one's burden again, but Sisyphus teaches the high fidelity that negates the gods and raises rocks. He too concludes that all is well. This universe henceforth without a master seems to him neither sterile nor futile. Each atom of that stone, each mineral flake of that night-filled mountain, in itself forms a world. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. And I think that's the core of it too. He does mention, there's nothing that cannot be defeated by scorn. But at the same time, it's the fact that he has a sort of grim satisfaction in the fact that life is meaningless, because he knows that without it, well, what would he do? He likes pushing the boulder up and down and up and down and up and down, because that's where he derives his life. That is his life. And just as much as I write, all the time, every day, and I know that, sure, it probably doesn't mean that much in the long run, but it means something to me, and it gives me the nourishment that I need to succeed in life. That's all that matters. Which do we want? Do we want an apple, raspberry? I have to have the raspberry, don't I? Make it true to the spirit of the video. Still bad. But I think that's it. Tell me about your absurdist struggles in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Or turn it off, I don't care. Because my scorn is more to me than you. Anyway, but no, really, comment down below. Let me know any tidbits you have. It's always fun reading what you guys write. And really, that's it for now, I think. So, a lot of absurd stuff going outside right now, let me tell you. Anyway, this has been Bryce Can Read. I am indeed Bryce. And Dog City.